in the morning. In the afternoon, he'll be engaged with people who are closer to his chest. And these are young people at Caritas and also at Don Bosco. Archbishop, his arrival yesterday, an exciting time.
Though it was dark in the night, but it was historical, memorable, and there were a lot of people, especially the streets were filled with our people, and it gives the impression that he himself always said that the shepherd must always be closer to the sheep, and he has to know also the smell of the sheep. And I think that the closeness of that came out from the street procession from the airport to the residence of the Apostolic Nunciature.
You are right, okay? All right, they arrived in dark at 7 o'clock, but that did not darken the excitement, the enthusiasm. Apart from the officialdom on the tarmac at the airport yesterday evening, and we're just showing some pictures of that from last night. Then he moved on. He took the street from the airport through to Erima, through to Barocco, and all the way up to New Guinea Hill, to the Apostolic Nunciature. And the story is that along the way, and we'll show you some pictures in a minute, the story is that along the way, the excitement, the euphoria was unbelievable, something people of the city have never seen. Kids, old people, young people, of all ages, of all religions, of all backgrounds, flocked or lined up the streets in almost candlelight along the way to see the Holy Father. And that's the Garuda Airbus that flew in the Holy Father yesterday from Jakarta in Indonesia.
The actual procession, I think, importantly, it allows people to experience what it is like for our streets in Port Moresby, the capital city, that families were able to come out and just enjoy him as he passes by their streets and waving the flags, singing, chanting. So there was joy, jubilation throughout this route from the airport to his residence at Korobosia. So in a sense, it made the streets that they are places where families can also still enjoy, even in the night, can be safe, can be a place where we encounter our neighbors.
You may look some picture yet, legally called a flower or something, all piginini, belong motu koita, only give him igolong Holy Father now this like me looking sambla lo lisla aste, whereby go on top long this blood dies, or call him Apec dies, where Deputy Prime Minister Blomipla, the Honorable John Rosso, na usat mani go pass long army or defense force Blomipla to believe stop on top lo this dies na welcome him Holy Father long Sindan long Sim Garbona. This fella only been working mass there. And more leader Blomipla sambla long all only stop long this side, only line up long this side. Now all leader or money go pass long church, only stop long Narapla side. Holy Father only give him also welcome salute long finish now. Go this like legally car. All blind line eating also about go one big car, no gat. Legally car whereby can look long or line can look long Now this la been come up as they now big story come up also lo road the Lushim airport. You go in up lo place lo sleep lo as they online ni pull up street.
Street emi pull up good street. Plenty only sanawan temol candlelight long welcome him. Plenty pray only sing amamas. Na I think this la big pla look long help him look sabi also streets below Yumi long, I do below Yumi. You must come up all place where you must bring him all rapla, all families, all neighborhood below Yumi. Make him all streets below Yumi, and me place where you can got exchange. You know, long all social activities, but too long believe. So, long lulu sila car, me choose him. Me talk, sila car yung mas simple car tasol. Me bring him back in sila attitude belong yan na look you know like by me sana por some big man me like by looking him or some leader want him power he must land long servant long help him all narapla and that is why all I put him all this all model long all car long yan blandi all dealers all ask him long him car all give him immediately choose him car ya mas sala max street.
The formal welcome ceremony was, as indicated, it's formal, somber, calm, but the real welcome ceremony, Archbishop, I will add, was probably along the way to his residence at the Apostolic Nunciature. The excitement, the euphoria shown by the people of Papua New Guinea, that was something to remember.
I think for the our families and our communities and the pilgrims who came from the provinces, that was the best welcome they could offer. To be able to be on the street and to encounter him, to see him in person, and passing by on the street, and they can encounter him. And I think there were individuals who have a lot of opportunities to actually have, not only to see him, but to also get closer. That experience was very profound, personal, and they will treasure that for this welcome.
They're excited, but it was also a security nightmare for the security personnel. While they can realize and understand the excitement of the people, they also have to make sure that the Pope is safe.
And that's
always the case.
But I think the maintaining of the order and
here it is. Look at this. It's a little boy, and the Holy Father particularly signed for him, gave the indication that I want to see that kid, and likewise the mother of that child as well. And here's a man trying to push in.
Yes.
A handshake he'll remember for the rest of his life. So that's the kind of concert, the kind of focus that people have, the kind of respect, the kind of belief that the people have in, I guess, in Christianity and in the Pope and what he stands for, a spiritual leader. They all look up to him.
The closeness is very personal, and for them, as you say, it's a lifetime experience. They've seen him on television and all the rest, but this is coming closer, and as you can see, how the security forces are trying to assist to create order and distance, but he is allowing them to come closer to him.
Absolutely. And that is something he's not saying there's no fear. He doesn't want to avoid them. In fact, if anything, he says, come over, I'll shake your hand.
And that's how he makes the streets for us as places to encounter, meeting the other people, feeling free to enjoy the company of others, and that is what is coming through as we see the pictures. The freedom of people to feel secure, maybe taking a risk, but trusting that it's going to be okay.
Yes.
It's going to be safe.
Yes, and this reflects on him as well, that he is a man of the people. He's and he would like to get close to the people, and his trip would indicate that. And right now, we are, and these are live pictures now from Government House at Konidobu, where the Holy Father is going there to pay a courtesy call on the Governor General of Papua New Guinea at Government House. And this always always happens when there is a state visit by a head of state from another country. And in this particular passage, he is being accorded the kind of stately treatment befitting of some leader, some president, some prime minister that's coming from another country. And here he's coming as head of the Vatican State to pay a courtesy call on the Governor General of Papua New Guinea.
I think it is also very important to give us the importance of the partnership in serving our people, that the two organizations of serving our people falls on both the state and the churches. And that is what we experience in our own concrete situation in Papua New Guinea and for the rest of the world. A mutual partnership that happens between government or the state and the church and non-government organizations for the well-being, for the good of our people. And this has been underpinned by this particular state visit that he is now giving this courtesy call to the Governor General, and even no way to avoid it. It has to be done as a way of diplomatic visit to the nation. And again, it's going to be memorable for him to come and have this courtesy visit and encounter with the head of our state, the Governor General, as he is now having the opportunity to welcome him and even to allow him to just experience this atmosphere, environment of partnership that we enjoy as a state and the church.
Yeah. Just some formalities there. The Chief Protocol Officer, Matthew Ding, and the Governor General have guided the Holy Father to signing the Book of Honor, and a normal formality that happens to any head of state that pays a courtesy call on the Governor General. These are live pictures coming to you from Government House at Konidobu in Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea.
And this also marks the first of the programs and activities of his public and full program of the day.
Very fitting that he signs into it, saying, I'm here and I've got a full day ahead of me. And where is that? It's called the State Hall of Government House.
The cross that he is wearing, it's also a special cross that has Jesus, the Good Shepherd, and you can see at the back, in that cross shape is Jesus in the center and all the sheep around, again highlighting the role of the Pope as the chief shepherd, to ensuring that he goes out, and especially going out for those sheep that are scattered, divided, hurt, or whatever.
Forgotten,
yes. And that is why the periphery has become one of his landmark signs, and call sign in his pastoral apostolic visits, especially now to us in Asia and Oceania.
Okay. All right, Archbishop, is the cross, that particular cross that you're describing, is that only worn by the Holy Father or any of the cardinals, archbishops?
That particular cross was designed especially by and for him, because that it was, again, it captures all that he has and want to promote in his particular leadership. And the big part of it is, this is now coming for leadership which we call servant leadership.
Okay.
And the servant leadership is more a shepherd leadership, caring, pastoring, and following and including and feeding your sheep.
Yeah. The Holy Father is, of course, signing the Book of Honor, but I think in that he's also giving a little passage, a little message in there. It'll be interesting to see what he's written or what he's writing, that that I guess will be remembered and will resonate if that is publicized, and this is what the Holy Father has said to us as a country, and through our Governor General at Government House, his statement to us.
That message, yes, though it is in the register there, as you said accurately, that is the message to us. The message of his concern, of his love, of his care, and could be the highlight of why he is amongst us.
Yes. But the picture in itself, it looks kind of calm, collected, and he's not a person confined to a wheelchair, but he almost looks very ordinary.
That is the point, that he took this particular decision to come, and when the advance party came and inspected everything and went back and made a full report, and the challenges, the inconveniences and the rest, he took note of that, and at the end he said, these are the challenges, but I would like to go to Papua New Guinea. I would like to go to Papua New Guinea. So this is indicative of his whole presence. And again, at 87, going 88, he still would like to demonstrate to us that at times the limitations, the inconveniences can for us excuses for not being able to achieve and do whatever. And by coming out here, the physical situation that he is in is assisting to inspire us that you can overcome this, because if you really want to be with people and for the common good, you have to just go by and go over what you have.
Okay. And I think it's a matter of procedure here that he's having a private meeting with the Governor General, and I think for the most part maybe one or two cameras from the Vatican are allowed in to record what's going on in there. But as for us, we are asked not to record that private meeting between the Holy Father and our Governor General. So that is why we can see that the particular person there making sure that no other person goes in there. Yeah.
And I think it is a statement also to those two aspects of our life. You have the private aspect of life, and also you have the public life. And this little demonstration of what has happened out in the public, we signs in, we observe that, but I think that moment of intimacy, of conversation between the Holy Father himself with the Governor General is a very personal moment for the two of them to at least treasure for the rest of their lives as well.
Well, that's going on. I might also add here that leaders have already gathered at Apec Haus at Ella Beach. Leaders, as I say, are political leaders of Papua New Guinea, as well as religious leaders of other denominations in the country, and business leaders and heads of states from other countries. This is the Government House, so at the Apec Haus of all the leaders all gathered there.
John, it looks like the state is also ready
it's
for
all set.
The next event of the morning.
Next engagement, and this will be longer than the one at Government House. After that private meeting with the Governor General, the Holy Father will be, there's a formality where there's the exchange and presentation of gifts, and on our part it'll be an exchange of gifts to be presented by Sambel and Admin. These are the children of our Governor General who will be presenting gifts to the Holy Father, and then there will be a gift from the country, from Papua New Guinea to His Holiness, and this will be a framed picture of the bird of paradise, the symbol of Papua New Guinea, for him to take back with him.
You can see the Cardinal Tagle, who is the head of the Congregation for Evangelization, has been talking with the Bishop of Vivek, Bishop Bishop Joseph Rosinski, and that is always a moment all the bishops enjoy because the Cardinal Tagle is from the Philippines and is closer to us, and he understands the challenges of Asia and also of Oceania.
Yes, and also the welcome reception, the red carpet, and the element of a little show of culture. I suppose a snapshot of our cultures. I can see some dancers from the Joaca province. I can see some dancers from, we were talking about the Mekios. Maybe one or two will be standing there, some from the central province. So that's the welcome reception, a mixture of formality with red carpet as well as a snapshot of our cultures.
Yes, Papua New Guinea is so rich with and the diversity of cultures, and in fact it is a wonder for the world when it comes to the 800 plus languages. People, when they come to know it, and it's becoming more and more awareness around the world. Once they were thinking that it was in Africa, but now everybody is saying it's Papua New Guinea, and sometimes this particular phenomenon of more languages spoken is one of the qualities of our nation.
It's a unique and a special identity of Papua New Guinea, and I think most Papua New Guineans, because we are in it and we are part of it, we don't realize the significance of it. We are almost chosen, someone who can be picked up in amongst the crowd as that being Papua New Guinean because of how different we are with our cultures, with our identity, and with who we really are.
Yes. And the challenge for the outsiders, when they think that we are just from Papua New Guinea, and the same when they tell us to speak the language, and we cannot speak our own proper dialect or proper languages, that we can just slip into Tok Pisin. And that's always the uniting factor with the Pidgin.
That's right. We're back to Government House again with these pictures. The meeting is still, the private session is still continuing between the Holy Father and the Governor General inside. And we are informed that our cameras are not allowed in there. In fact, as indeed most of the other cameras from the other organizations, excuse me, one or two cameras from the Vatican may have been allowed into that little private meeting. But of course, in these exchanges, we can kind of anticipate what they talk about. The Holy Father might say he's happy to come to this unique country, and as part of his periphery terminology is using, and to have been welcomed the way we did last night at Jackson's airport, and the kind of reception he received along the way to the Apostolic Nunciature on Air Niugini Hill, and now to meet him, and of course the Governor General, no, he's somebody trying to sneak into the private meeting. I'm wondering whether the whether the security, I think he's
just checking.
He's politely,
are they over now or not
yes,
yet?
he's politely told, no, it's private.
Yes. You know what, John, what would be interesting for the Holy Father this morning is to wake up at Korobosia this morning. It's a beautiful scenery from the Nunciature looking over the water.
Okay.
And that was something that he missed coming in yesterday in the dark.
Okay, yes.
And the beauty of the nation. And now going from Korobosia itself going down to Ella Beach, that is itself is panoramic, the view and everything of Port Moresby.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right there, Archbishop. And I think it'll get a better glimpse of the whole country when he flies to Vanimo. Yes. And I hope that whoever's flying him there probably does a little bit of a, not detour, but fly for him to get a better grip of the plains of Sepik and Sepik River.
The Sepik River will be, yes. And the mountains.
And the mountains into the interior.
Yes.
So, yep, all the leaders, all are, well, they are all waiting for the Holy Father at Apec Haus at Ella Beach. The meeting, the private little session between the Holy Father and the Governor General continues at Government House, Konidobo.
So in that moment, I think it's intense and I think it's precious because while we are saying it is for a private audience, they might be, what I can gather is, they are just enjoying this moment to express maybe the beauty of the fact that our Governor General, I assume that he will be crediting him for making it all the way to coming to Papua New Guinea and making this.
In the condition he's in.
Yeah, and this could be the last trip. This is like a maiden voyage that he's doing to us, and so it is very, very historical, and for them to have this mutual exchange, given what it takes, I think it is a moment that you can see, especially when it underpins the collaboration, the mutual partnership between state and church, and they deliver services to the same people, our people here, and this is why they affirm each other, and maybe at the same time proposes how to move forward to improve. So while it is taking time, there'll be a few things that will be of importance, and I always conscious of the fact that we always wanting to see more quality in this partnership between the state and the churches.
Right.
And the churches are always present with the people in the remote areas, and he's coming to affirm that, and then he's almost saying, encouraging government, give the support where it is necessary, and always assist, because it is government responsibility to deliver education, to deliver health services, infrastructure development, and by what the church picks up to complement that, and not to work in competition with each other, but it's complementary.
I think you put that pretty well, Archbishop, and I hope that government people are listening and are watching, and that is a job that they need to do. They need to listen, and they need to do that. And at the time when we're going through certain hardships in the country right now, with prices of basic goods and the kinds of the law and order issues and issues that we are confronting us as a country, the point you are making is and should be noted by leaders, if that is indeed the kind of exchange between the Governor General and the Holy Father at Government House at this moment. If that is the kind of exchange, then that has to resonate with every elected leader, with every civil servant, and that has to filter down to the people, and that services are provided, and everybody's doing what they need to do, and then what they must do in order for this country to go forward.
So what you see from the simple convoy from the airport to the house, that for me is a very good message for us, that make our streets places where we can enjoy the neighborhood, where people can come out free in the evenings, in the nights, and be there. It is possible to happen, but I think we all have to make that a commitment. Sometimes when we shut and lock our gates, that we are allowing to promote fear, suspicion, and I think that was coming through yesterday from this whole journey, by allowing people just to be, celebrating the street, making the street once more safe. And I think this some of the, while we are doing it for the arrival and the welcome, let us not stop there. Let's continue after this.
Absolutely. And then I think that kind of excitement should also be given to leaders, our elected leaders, our appointed or our anointed leaders. That kind of euphoria and excitement should be extended to them if they did the right thing, if they stand for principles, and if they deliver as they should. And if they don't, they cannot accept that kind of reception and that kind of excitement as demonstrated last night along the road from the airport all the way to the Apostolic Nunciate at New Guinea Hill.
Importantly, as you can see with the Holy Father, Pope Francis' attitude of letting go and coming forward towards us. And that's really what is happening for the kind of leadership that we have to have. Our focus has to be on the people and the well-being of our people. And when you are focused on that, there is no fear for any self-preservation. It is always moving forward and moving towards and moving out. And that has been really emphasized and highlighted by his very gestures, and also the way now he's carrying himself around to encourage us, let us get out of ourselves and be more focused on the other people.
Yes. Totally agree. Archbishop, totally agree. And I think the meeting with the Holy Father and the Governor General is still going on at Government House, the private little meeting. And we also note here that Papua New Guinea and the Vatican State established diplomatic relations just after independence in March, on the 7th of March, 1977. So we've established diplomatic relations with the Vatican State after independence at that time. So that relationship has held and has been respected over these years.
Yes, and we do enjoy this particular relationship, the diplomatic relationships, because our people and most of our priests also have the opportunity to go and do their studies in Rome. And as we alluded to yesterday, when Pope John Paul II came, he spoke Motu and Tokpisin. And that was as a benefit of our students, Father Michael Ligo and Gabriel Pinda, MSc. They were there in Rome and they prepared him for the 1984 first apostolic papal visit here.
Okay.
So this diplomatic relationship is also helping us to understand that there is cooperation and there is collaboration that is taking place. So again, what they may be saying there is revisiting the past and seeing what is happening here in the present to looking into the future.
Yes, and that is quite an important point to make here. And of course, there have been other visits to the Vatican by ordinary Papua New Guineans, just to see Rome and Vatican State. I mean, people talk about it, and we see it, we read about it, we see it in pictures and all that, but nobody really gets that true feeling when they visit. And diplomatic relations such as this ensure that you go and visit the Vatican even when you want. And I hope that there are no visas required in that, Archbishop.
This is the thing.
Yes.
This is really important because I personally was standing on the queue to get a visa and then noted on the wall, visa not needed for Solomon Islands, for Kiribati, and a Fijian standing next to me said, and why Fiji and Papua New Guinea we have to go for visas, and the small nations, they have to have no visa required.
Okay.
But that underlines our partnership and our diplomatic relationships. Yes. If our government are not doing anything, so Fiji and Papua New Guinea have to stand on the queue to getting their visas.
Well, there you are. Here is the presentation of that gift to the Holy Father, and this no doubt will be Sambeli, or admin, Dada, the Governor General's children, the presentation of gifts, and they get something in return.
That is normally the Holy Rosary or some souvenir from the Vatican that he always complement the gifts with.
Okay, okay. And no doubt they've concluded their little meeting, and I think they're just about ready to head towards the Apec House at Ella Beach for the next engagement. These pictures coming to you live from Government House at Konidobo, Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. Where the Holy Father, Pope Francis, has paid a courtesy call on Papua New Guinea's Governor General, the Grand Chief, Sir Bob Dade. And he bids farewell. Thank you for coming, he says. We'll meet again. Maybe on Earth, maybe somewhere else.
It is an historic visit, and as I said, it is a maiden voyage, and coming to Asia, Pacific, Oceania, and given his age and health status, this could be the last time he will be around for us. And I'm really grateful that our people can have the opportunity to add this as part of one of the histories of our country.
We're absolutely privileged, Archbishop, absolutely privileged to have this visit, to see the man in person on our soil.
And notably, this is the car that he used for his visit to our city, to our country. And again, I think it is just the smallness of this vehicle is helping us, all the quality of humility,
yes,
the quality of service, and putting others' interests at the best, especially when church and the state combines, is supposed to be for the integral human development of our people.
Yes, yes. Well, he's being aided into his car. Shall we call it what? A small Pope-mobile?
Well, that's it. Where we have the plane, the Shepherd one,
Yeah.
this is just a Pope-mobile.
Pope-
He's using it to move around
Yes.
in
And
the streets.
Normally they see an open back car fitted with bulletproof glasses and things like that. Here, a small car. He's got his windows down, waving at everybody as he is being escorted now, as he's being driven out of Government House at Conidobo, and a short drive. Shouldn't take no more than 3-4 minutes to arrive at Apec Haus, Ella Beach, on the other side, where a group of people, a group of leaders are waiting, where he no doubt will say something to them. And these visitors, this group includes, as we mentioned earlier, political leaders, business leaders, leaders of other churches, and leaders of other countries who've come here. And no doubt there'll be a whole lot of other civil servants and other people, other Motu Koitabun leaders, no doubt, will have been asked to be part of that gathering, because it's quite significant. And making use of that pretty important infrastructure at Ella Beach, which also gives a little snapshot of Papua New Guinea with that building.
It is. The significance of that building, we call it the Apec Haus, it's a lakotoi, and so it is important and significant for the local people and the culture and the trade, reaching out again in terms of exchange and providing and supporting the sustenance of our people in the Papuan region.
Yes, and he was given a small lakotoi at the airport yesterday by one of the Koitabun girls who was dressed appropriately for that. So now we are heading towards Apec Haus at Ella Beach. A few minutes drive to that meeting. That's the next engagement, and that is going to take a while. What do you anticipate that the Holy Father will say to a broad range of representatives, of leaders, of key people who, after he leaves, will probably make decisions or do things, supposedly, to have things happen?
In his latest writings, he's been very particular on the climate change as one of the issues, and trying to make our planet a common home, sustainable. This generation have to do something better to leave it a better place for those coming after us. As well as in the other writing he has put out, is also appealing on us to see each other as brothers and sisters. So these are values that governments and churches to promote all the time. And basically, as human beings, this is what we own nothing in this world. We just came and used them, and we have to leave it a better place for the others who are coming after us. We don't take the opportunity to gobble everything now, as if we are the last people. And we have to always be in gratitude to say thank you to those who have gone before us, because they have left enough for us. And we should do the same for the others coming after us. And this is always a keynote focus on assisting governments and the world to think about sustainability in what we have.
Very good point there, Archbishop, and I think many of us need to really take that in to see whether we are guilty of that or whether we support that notion that we are just passing through.
Yes.
That what we get, what we do, what we say is as we are passing through.
Yes.
There's nothing here we own, nothing that we take with us. We came with nothing, we leave with nothing. I mean,
and that's the reality. That's the bare reality.
Yes, yes.
And importantly, what is always helping us is the sustainability of what we have. He's been very particular, and all the governments do know that he is very particular about the throwaway culture. And the throwaway culture is when we just use, we throw because modern fashion is the way to go, and sometimes we don't really need to change things that rapid. We need to enjoy things, knowing very well some people just do not have it. But I think on the other end also to see the Western world, what the kind of lifestyle that they live, and many times they just throw away things. They do not know where it goes, but we copy it in Oceania, we copy it in Asia. So this is where the whole issue of climate change and have an attitude for sustainability and recycling of things, and always I remember there is another little conversation that Saint Teresa of Calcutta, in her strive to alleviate poverty, she was saying there is always enough in the world for the needy, but not enough for the greedy.
They want to take in more for themselves. Wow. Well, Mother Teresa,
yes.
Mother Teresa of Calcutta.
Yes.
Calcutta. Yes, and I think we now wait for a few more minutes as the Pope Mobile, the small Pope Mobile, and is escorted to the other side of Port Moresby. Government House at Konirobo is on the western side. The southern side is Ella Beach in Port Moresby. It's only a few minutes drive, and all the leaders are now gathered inside at the Apec Haus at Ella Beach. And here's a picture overlooking Port Moresby, and this is all in anticipation for the arrival. And these dancers, these girls are from the Motu Koitabo villages in the national capital, and it's fitting that they are there to welcome the Holy Father. And here's someone there, probably waited for too long a little bit. And that's where he will be speaking from, or that's where he'll be seated. And no doubt on the other chair, it's a design for the Holy Father to sit in one, and the other chair is reserved for who, do you think?
For the Governor General.
For the Governor General.
I think he's going to deliver the speech now here at this occasion, and there will be an opportunity also the other leaders that are present to listen in, both again government and church leaders. And again, these two are always existing for the good of our people, because they are the ones who make decisions. They are the ones who make policies. They collaborate for the well-being of our people.
Yes.
And that is always the focus. We don't exist for ourselves. Government doesn't exist for itself. Church doesn't exist for itself, but for our people.
Exactly, exactly. And I think the girls have got the cue that the Pope Mobile is just around the corner. They've started the ritual, and everybody is kind of seated, all calm, collective. And Archbishop, the important thing here is this will be probably the first time that the Holy Father will say something, will give a message, and I think we're very hopeful, and we anticipate, and we're wondering what the message might be, given the purpose of his visit and what he's all about, and given the situation we are in and what we are all about today.
Yes, John, sometimes it's very interesting that things that the Holy Father says and addressing different nations and communities sometimes are really spot on our issues, and sometimes the highlights of our realities. Sometimes we ourselves are in the situations we don't have the objectivity to step aside and look at it back. But for someone to be able to pick them up and draw our attention to it, we realize this is where we have been going, and this is how it has been happening, and then we find ways on how to amend maybe our ways or make decisions, alterations to have the right path. Again, at the end of the day, is always the common good. How the people has to benefit from such decisions.
Yes, and it's so appropriate at this time as we are celebrating, and this month is the 49th independence anniversary of Papua New Guinea. So a message, whatever message the Holy Father gives, will be very interesting at this time. And here comes the Pope Mobile and the motorcade coming to Apec Haus at Ella Beach. Protocol people will swing into operation. And our Motu Koitabon dancers, and there seats the members of the clergy. Some of them, you want to call their names?
Well, most of them,
Yes, yeah.
most of them are from our local dioceses in Papua New Guinea. I understand the visitors will be the cardinal from Tonga, and he's amongst the clergy there, as well as the couple of bishops from abroad, like Australia and New Zealand, and the Archbishop of Suva in Fiji. They feel that they have to be present because of the papal and apostolic visit here is also Oceania, and so they have a presence. And you can see the Governor General himself already arrived earlier in preparation for the Holy Father to come in.
And he will have to receive the Holy Father at Apec Haus there. And Dari Toka Jr., the head of the Motu Koitabons here in the national capital, is with him. I think it is also important to note here that this is happening at one of Papua New Guinea's important fixtures, where when we held the APEC in the country sometime back, a couple of years back, and the meeting is taking place there. It's important, and I think if it is also important to note here that what we are showing is now going almost all over the world. It's going on Sky News. It's being shown at the Vatican television, in Italy as well as in Reuters, Salon Television in Canada, EWTN, and definitely there are visions of that going into Argentina, the home country of the Holy Father, Pope Francis. He should be arriving there shortly, and will be received by the Governor General for and on behalf of the people of Papua New Guinea and of all the other leaders who come from other neighboring countries as well, who are seated there.
John, I think it's also important to note all our hardworking people behind the scenes to getting these images to our viewers throughout the world. And I think it's also given us to prove that we are able to do it professionally. The quality is here. And so I just would like to take that note to acknowledge all our people who are working behind the scenes to enable the technicians, the producers, and everybody, and also our media. The cooperation, the collaboration for this event is just unimaginable. Everybody has come together. They have had a long meetings to ensure these things work out very well, because we are putting Papua New Guinea on the international scene.
Totally agree. The mini Pope Mobile, if you like. It's mini, it might look small, but what that small Pope mobile is bringing in and bringing out into our country and at the Apec Haus is something big. He is the world leader, a spiritual world leader, as well as a country leader.
It's interesting that in Pidgin we always have a practical joke saying that lik walk na big plakai kai. Now here we are seeing lik car for a big man.
Now, this la talk fit him. This la kind talk bogus will talk picture me plus I give him. Big pla true. Nice pla thinking you got that you've been talk long and this la kind of picture me plus show him now. Me like talking you me online lo papa nigini also this la got the picture you me show him now. Two, you bla look him now, you go along all narpla country too. Country or television or when him kind walk all is working this la or picture you go along also 6-7 black country. Picture 2 you go along place country street where Holy Father come long and long Argentina. This la picture me bless for him now. Me bless you look long and or look him long up too. Or look him long Canada or solemn television. EWTN long Italy too or look him. Only look him long Vatican television and long Rome yet or look him. Sky News he saw him all this picture too. So this la legally something me bla thing also long country bla me bla no got and big bla look him. Look him also this la Mary give him one bla symbol bla me bla lakatoy he go long hand long Holy Father. Name kisi one bla legally President return now also Archbishop you to open I think I'm rosary or one bla legally something he come lo Vatican. So tell this pala, he look also only larim mipla online was that the brim this la picture na talk camera you like all camera blo mipla stop are long na kiss him picture. Na I think him la look long all Danish online all Danish na me talk legally picture blong culture blo mipla way blo mipla how mipla Danish na how mipla talk welcome long kind or big pla line come long country blo mipla.
John, what we are really seeing, and I really hope and pray that this will be really our way forward to have that mutual collaboration and respect between the state as well as with the government, the state, and the churches, and our leaders. I think at all levels, the collaboration, the mutual respect to coexist and to support and complement one another. This whole experience is bringing this out, and the richness of the culture and the recognition of the talents and skills that people have for the benefit of everyone. And so these are some of the things, or maybe the outcome of what we are observing and witnessing that stands out clearly as a result and the fruit of this kind of collaboration and experience.
Yes, I think Archbishop, I think legally something we can talk out also. I think time Holy Father come inside, or line is sanabna, Holy Dennis na talk welcome. That's all. I mean, no, he didn't go past them to the next. He just said, I want to see them dance a little bit. So they paused there for a while and turned his wheelchair around for him to stay, and then the girls performed there for him. It could have been scripted, planned, or it could have been just something that happened right there and then.
And John, what brings it out from that point of view too is the noticing the little details.
Absolutely.
You don't ignore.
And he's taking the lift, he's gone upstairs at the Apec Haus, where this will be the main meeting I'd like to think. Next to him is, of course, the Governor General of Papua New Guinea, the Grand Chief, Sabob Dade. I noticed that his wheelchair, and there's always someone standing right next to it, is being handled by Vatican staff themselves.
Most of the carers around him are his own that came with him from the Vatican. The entourage was composed of the media, the journalists, and his own caretakers.
Yes, and they know exactly what to do, so they wouldn't allow anybody else to touch him wrong something and them put down. And there was a little bit of that at the airport, and, and I think there was a little bit of a scare there that he might trip. But
it's always important. You know people who are close to you, and they know your ways of behaving. So these are the people you have to always have them around you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is our live telecast. We continue that of the visit by the Holy Father to Port Moresby in Papua New Guinea. We are now at Apec Haus at Ella Beach in Port Moresby, the capital city of the country, where the Holy Father is no doubt, and we are anticipating that, will say something to a gathering of leaders, political leaders of Papua New Guinea, as well as business leaders and other people gathered to hear from the Holy Father. And I think to begin that, I think there'll be a speech by the Governor General, the Grand Chief Shabob Dade, who will no doubt welcome the Holy Father into the country for and on behalf of the people of Papua New Guinea. He will give his speech, and no doubt the speech is being delivered to him. That will be followed by a response and a statement from the Holy Father.
For our viewers out there, there is an earpiece that the Holy Father is having on. That's for this, for the benefit of translation, because he basically strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government and people of Papua New Guinea, I welcome His Holiness Pope Francis to this beautiful country. Your presence here is a testament to the enduring spirit of faith that brings us together across oceans and continents, and I am honored to receive you today. As you know, the first Catholic missionaries were the Marists. They arrived in 1845 and settled in the beautiful Woodleg and Rocky Islands. Some 139 years later, having fully established the seat of the Catholic faith, your predecessor, the Holy Father, Pope John Paul II, visited our country in 1984 and again in 1995. This year is the 179th year of the presence of the Catholic Church in Papua New Guinea, and you are here with us. As a country, we are very grateful. Your Holiness, the Catholic Church is among the key development partners of the government in services delivery in the country. Our government recognizes the strong contributions of the Church in supporting children communities, future church leaders across education, health, and spiritual care. We appreciate the global leadership in advocacy that the Vatican continues to provide on the global humanitarian issues like war, human rights, gender issues, climate change, health, and education. Your Holiness, life is a right to human beings. As
Can we hear something?
father will respond to his message, and we need to know what it is.
We want to acknowledge the role of women emphasized on the need for protection. Our female is not just a mere gender, but a special gift from God to bear a nation. And like Mother Nature, she keeps and sustains humanity. Your Holiness, in a world of greed and turmoil, your voice will be better heard by the world over to love and respect the rights of women in a free world. We are happy to convey that the Catholic Church has been very active in advocating against violence and human as Christians and recommit to love and peaceful existence in our society. Your Holiness, climate change is real. The rise in the sea level is affecting the lives of our people in the remote islands of Papua New Guinea and across the Pacific. We appreciate the work of the Catholic missionaries and those from the Christian faith who continue to serve those that are affected by climate change. The experience across the Pacific is that islands are sinking. People are affected and displaced. We seek your prayers and support for global action and advocacy on climate change. We want the world to know that there is no more time to discuss. What the world needs is commitment for action. Your Holiness, we also want to thank you for the work of the Church to take the health and education services to the remotest places in Papua New Guinea. Our inspiration is the educated life service of missionaries of Catholic Church across the length and breadth of this beautiful country. This is truly an embodiment of enduring love and compassion of God for humanity. Our government is intensifying efforts to strengthen the existing partnership through funding support, institutional alignment, and other state-church collaboration arrangements. As a government, we continue to fund churches-run institutions. We truly value this partnership and affirm support to the work of the Catholic Church and other Christian churches in the country. As you bless our land with your presence, we are filled with profound gratitude and humility, as can be seen through the magnitude of pilgrimage to the city, just to get a glimpse of your holiness. We know that your visit will leave an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of our citizens. We pray that the seeds of faith, hope, and love that you show, they will bear fruit for generations to come. Please pray for Papua New Guinea, its democracy, its leadership, and pray for people to turn to God at a time when there is rise of atheism in the world. May you also pray for our fellow brothers and sisters in the Pacific. Some of their leaders are present here today with us. We thank you for choosing to visit Papua New Guinea and wish you the blessings of peace and comfort and hope that you will enjoy the warm, gracious hospitality of your church, the government, and people of Papua New Guinea. God bless you, and God bless Papua New Guinea. Thank you very much.
It is now my honor to invite His Holiness, Pope Francis, to give his address to the country.
Generale, signor Primo Ministro, distinti rappresentanti della società civile, signori ambasciatori, signore e signori. Sono lieto di essere oggi
I'm very pleased to be with you today and to visit Papua New Guinea. I thank the Governor General for his cordial words of welcome and all of you for your warm reception. I extend my greetings to the people of the country, wishing them peace and prosperity. And I also express my gratitude to the authorities for helping the Church in a spirit of mutual cooperation and for the benefit of the common good. In your homeland, an archipelago with hundreds of islands, more than 800 languages are spoken, corresponding to just as many ethnic groups. This points to an extraordinary cultural richness. I must confess that this greatly fascinates me, also on a spiritual level, because I imagine that this enormous variety is a challenge to the Holy Spirit, who creates harmony amid differences. Your country, besides consisting of islands and languages, is also rich in natural resources. These goods are destined by God for the entire community, even if outside experts and large international companies must be involved in the harnessing of these resources. It is only right that the needs of local people are given due consideration when distributing the proceeds and employing workers in order to improve their living conditions. These environmental and cultural treasures represent at the same time a great responsibility because they require everyone, civil authorities and all citizens, to promote initiatives that develop natural and human resources in a sustainable and equitable manner, a manner that provides the well-being of all, excluding nobody, through concrete programs, international cooperation, mutual respect, and agreements beneficial to all parties. A necessary condition for such lasting result is the stability of institutions, which is fostered by agreement on certain essential points amidst different concepts and sensibilities present in society. Indeed, increasing institutional stability and building consensus on fundamental choices is a prerequisite for integral and fair development. It also requires a long-term vision and a climate of cooperation among all, even if there is a distinction of roles and differences of opinion. It is my particular hope that tribal violence will come to an end, for it causes many victims, prevents people from living in peace and hinders development. I appeal, therefore, to everyone's sense of responsibility to stop the spiral of violence and instead resolutely embark on the path that leads to fruitful cooperation for the benefit of all the people of the country. Indeed, the aforementioned attitudes can create the conditions in which the question of the status of Bougainville Island can also find a definitive solution while avoiding the rekindling of ancient tensions. By bolstering agreement on the fundamental elements of civil society, together with the willingness of each person to sacrifice something from his or her point of view for the benefit of all, the necessary forces can be utilized to improve infrastructure, address the health and educational needs of the population, and increase opportunities for dignified work. Sometimes we forget that human beings need more than just the basic necessities of life. They also need great hope in their hearts. This allows them to live fully, gives them zest and courage to undertake wide-ranging projects, and enables them to lift their gaze upward towards vast horizons. An abundance of material goods is not enough to give birth to a life-giving, serene, hard-working, and joyful society, which without a broader spiritual outlook tends in on itself and leads to a dryness of heart. As a result, society loses its weight and forgets the correct hierarchy of values. Moreover, the dryness takes away society's drive to move forward, and as happens in some opulent societies, blocks its progress to the extent that it loses hope in the future and can no longer find reason to pass on life and faith to future generations. That is why it is necessary to direct the spirit towards greater realities. Our attitudes and action must be sustained by an inner strength which shelters them from the risk of being corrupted or of losing the ability to recognize the value of work and the need to carry it out with dedication and devotion. Spiritual values greatly influence the building of the earthly city and all temporal realities. In other words, these values infuse a soul and inspire and strengthen every project.
Lo ricordano anche il logo e il motto di questa mia visita in Papua Nuova Guinea. Il motto dice tutto con una sola parola: pray. Pregare. Forse qualcuno troppo osservante del politicamente corretto potrà stupirsi di questa scelta, ma in realtà si sbaglia, perché un popolo che prega ha un futuro, attingendo forza, speranza dall'alto. E anche l'emblema dell'uccello del paradiso nel logo del viaggio è simbolo di libertà. Di quella libertà che niente e nessuno può soffocare perché è interiore ed è custodita da Dio che è amore e vuole che i suoi figli siano liberi. Per tutti coloro che si professano cristiani, la grande maggioranza del vostro popolo, auspico vivamente che la fede non si riduca mai all'osservanza di riti e precetti, ma che consista nell'amore, nell'amare Gesù Cristo e seguirlo, e che possa farsi cultura vissuta, ispirando le menti e le azioni, diventando un faro di luce che illumina la rotta. In questo modo la fede potrà aiutare anche la società nel suo insieme a crescere e a individuare buone e efficaci soluzioni alle sue grandi sfide. Illustri signore e signori, sono venuto qui per incoraggiare i fedeli cattolici a proseguire il loro cammino per confermarli nella professione della fede. Sono venuto a gioire con loro per i progressi che vanno facendo e a condividere le loro difficoltà. Sono qui, come direbbe San Paolo, quale collaboratore della vostra gioia. Mi congratulo con le comunità cristiane per le opere di carità che svolgono nel Paese e le esorto a cercare sempre la collaborazione con le istituzioni.
Television being what it is. Television being what it is. Archbishop, we lost a bit of audio there, lost a bit of pictures there. That's outside broadcast television. So we apologize for that. But there it was, a speech from the Governor General and a reply or a speech from the Holy Father at Apec Haus. And he spoke in Italian, so there was a bit of translation, and what I heard was he did mention television, again, television being what it is. We do seem to have a few problems coming out of Apec Haus at Ella Beach. There we had the Governor General speaking earlier on, and then the Holy Father speaking there. Let's just have a quick look at what the Governor General said. He spoke about climate change, and I think that is the thrust of his visit here, of the Holy Father, so it was appropriate that Papua New Guinea being part of the Pacific and climate change becoming an important issue, he did touch on that.
Yes, John, I think what the Governor General presented to the Holy Father are the issues that we are quite familiar with, the realities that we are living through. And as he mentioned, enough of talking, let us really do something, and a change of attitude, a change of policies, and living styles has to really be the way to go forward.
And in the Holy Father's not so much response, but in his speech, and it was in Italian, but the quick translation we were able to get was he did touch on Bougainville, and I thought that was interesting, because as you know, Bougainvilleans are very strong Catholics, and if anything, we had our first Archbishop from Bougainville, Sir Peter Koronku. And because of the situation where we are right now with Bougainville and the referendum on Bougainville, and I thought that he did, although we could not hear clearly what he was saying.
It is, and interestingly, the provincial leader of Bougainville meeting the Holy Father yesterday for the welcome, they had a bit of chat. As you may realize, there was a bit of chat. And I think personally they would have, the Minister for Interior, Security and Police is saying something, whispering almost, using that opportunity, that's the closest you can get to whisper to the Holy Father, this is our issues, and maybe asking for special blessings and prayers this time. And it just happened that, as you can ascertain from that, is that the Holy Father knows basically what are the key issues of concerns for the country politically, as much as for the economic situation that we are, but also with the climate and the environment. These are all issues that he is well aware of.
Encourage us all to remain seated whilst that's happening. Thank you.